Boom. Good show. What should we call it?
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. You
Well,
going to hang around or you need to get going?
I got to bounce. Stories.
Yeah,
are
I figured you
right
probably
to-
did. So huge thanks for taking time to chat with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
huge thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And Justin, we'll maybe chit-chatter on Twitter about the campaign.
Absolutely. No, shoot me a line. I wish I would have known that you were in Manchester. If only we had a mutual friend that could have connected us. That would have been really nice.
No worries. It was a circus.
No, it certainly was. It was super great. But yeah, no. We'll chat on Twitter.
Badass. See you guys soon.
Yeah, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
You know those Ohio primaries. I don't know how that came out. That was embarrassing.
He
Well, no-
just said Ohio because he was talking about the 2012 election, so that's how it got stuck in your head.
Someone did say Ohio?
He was talking about Ohio from a previous race, so it put Ohio in your head. That's
That's
what
it. Okay, that makes
2012,
sense.
Ohio was the big battleground.
Yeah.
And that Obama was sure that they were going to win Ohio, which was like thought to be encroached by Romney because of their data.
That's what it was.
Oh my God! We just dodged the
Are you kidding me? I can't believe that just happened.
Wow, that's the best behaved glitch I've ever seen.
Well done, Glitch.
Please.
I haven't seen any titles that made me feel like I had to have them as the title.
I like that one.
Yeah,
That is
So
kinda-
many of me. I'm definitely going to go again. It's definitely going to happen again. I can't believe it waited until the end of the show to keep happening.
That's
That
amazing.
was amazing.
Hold on.
3 Veronicas online. 3 Veronicas online. I feel like this will just be. Oh, no, nope. Yep, still.
I'm
three.
here. I'm here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're here.
I'm here.
We're here. Veronica's here, everybody.
All right, let's see. What should the title be?
2 Veronicas.
So many Veronicas.
So many Veronicas. Anyone see anything that makes you say, hey, this is a title?
Seemed low on title suggestions
A
today.
little low on titles today.
Maybe, I don't know if Showbot was buggy. There's just not as many of them in the list as usual. You guys just not feeling it? Chat room?
Patrick Beja wrote in. I like that one.
You all have the flu?
I feel like he's haunting me. Like even when I'm not on the show with him, like the specter of Patrick Beja and this Twitter argument just keeps popping its head back up.
Like, yeah, he's got his own day. He can take shots. He doesn't need to email in, right?
You know. Give me well, I can't say my day because technically
That
it's
email
Justin's
has
day.
been in the lineup since 8 this morning, though.
Well, I didn't get that far. I was
Where?
yogaing, okay?
Namaste.
Give me my yogaing.
Wait, so what was your side of that debate, Veronica?
My side of the debate was basically that Twitter's not going to last if it can't demonstrate that it's growing and has some kind of plan for making its shareholders money.
So, but by last, do we mean like existing or selling or being?
Yeah,
its own-
like in some way they're going to have to they're probably going to have to sell or they're going to have to start making money of their own, and there's not a lot of confidence right now in terms of the leadership and the direction, but some of that's being rectified. So hopefully it will continue to be okay. But they've just not shown a lot of any growth really, so that's problematic for a company like that.
It really is a problem when you start to look at like, it's not that there are other popular social networks, but like something that was thought to be kind of not an also ran, but something that would be sub Twitter like Instagram now has more users than it and
Yeah, and it's just like rocketing in terms of new users and growth and stickiness and everything. I mean, it's crazy. And Snapchat even. Look at Snapchat. I mean, they're crushing them.
If I understood Manju's point, he was saying we're thinking about maybe. He was saying maybe. He wasn't even saying, this is the only way to think about it. He's like, maybe we're thinking about Twitter wrong. Maybe we shouldn't be comparing it to Facebook and Snapchat. Maybe it is a different tool.
Well, that's I saw that quote where it was like, don't think of it like Wikipedia. Don't think of it like, a news thing. So who knows?
And to me, the larger question is, does every successful social networking service have to have 1 billion users? Is that the new metric for success? Or can one thrive and be influential? Look, the New York Times has a pathetically small number of subscribers to the actual paper and not that many more subscribers, and they still retain a huge amount of influence, rightly or wrongly. So I don't know.
No, I think we're getting a couple things confused. In like, is it the end of our discussion if Twitter sells, right? Because if Twitter sold to another organization and was just allowed to kind of do what it does and cater to its users and try to expand its base, then I think that can happen forever. I think that Twitter can be Twitter as it is now forever. Now, is Twitter as a company, is their future tied to being bigger, better, more? Yeah, I think that Veronica's 100% right that Twitter as a company relies on that kind of growth. But Twitter as a website, Twitter as something that I'm going to use every day, yeah, that'll be the same if it's sold to Snapchat tomorrow.
Well, no, and it doesn't even. And this is the discussion we were having when Patrick was here, and I think Patrick felt a little alone. Is that even if it stays as an independent company, it only has to keep growing if it wants to be a stock market superstar. It could easily take itself private, like Dell did, or it could just, end up being, a stable stock and say, look, we're not going to go for growth. That's problematic based on investors who want their return, and that's the pressure to grow. And that's where Veronica has her most solid point is like, yeah, but they've taken all this venture capital money from people, and those people want a return. They don't want to see stability. They want to see growth. But Patrick's not wrong that they wouldn't even have to sell to anybody and possibly create a stable business.
It also matters for culture, and it also matters for hiring.
Well, yeah, independent Twitter is very different than Verizon-owned Twitter.
Yeah, and people, top talent, don't want to go to a company that's flat. They want to go to a company that's got upward momentum, forward momentum.
They want stock options that are going to get more valuable. That's the way you get top talent. Yeah.
Well, or just white hot, right? Just exciting. I mean, that's when I was saying, like, the culture of this area, and you only have to talk to a few people that work in tech to understand that, like, everything is focused like in the idea of 5 and 10 years down the road. What could this be 5 and 10 years down the road? And that's why explosive companies are catnip, because, like, oh my God, imagine where this can be in 5 or 10 years. I want to be here now because I'm seeing the future.
Well, that's why Twitter's already losing talent. I mean, people want to go to companies like Slack. They want to go to companies like Snapchat down in Venice. They want to go to companies like, even Facebook, because they're doing so many cool things. So it's difficult.
But Stoic Squirrel makes a point. Twitter could still do exciting things without being focused purely on growth. And if they were a really good company to work for, that kind of stability could be attractive to a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't know if they are a really good company to work for.
I think the culture has made it so that you as a company feel you can only be focused on investor maximization or in trouble. And there should be a third way or a fourth way.
Yes. I don't know if that has the big office right on, in Soma, and I don't know if that has the same hiring pattern that Twitter has. All right, fun fact, blind item. I don't want to name the company, but there is a company that everybody knows that has a visualization on one of their boards, on one of their monitors in their headquarters, that has a graph of Twitter's stock price next to applicants for that company from Twitter.
Mm-hmm. But that is perfectly natural in that culture.
And their applicants, people who are applying to this company.
Well, I was exactly right. What I just said is exactly right. So
that is larger than the culture of that one company that is crowing about it. That is industry wide.
I think what we have between Patrick and Veronica are two different approaches. Veronica is describing reality and saying, this is reality. This is what is happening. And Justin, that's what you're doing too, saying, no, look, this is the culture. This is what happens. This is what people value. Patrick, I think, is being more idealistic and saying, but it doesn't have to be that way. Especially because he's outside Silicon Valley, so he can say, yeah, but why?
And I come down on the side of what should be, which is, yes, if there was a way for a company to declare itself this is not the right analogy, but a company that is for social good versus a company that is for growth is one way to think about not having to always please shareholders. Is there another way to quantify something like that and say, okay, we are not for continued stratospheric growth per se. We want to be this, not quite social good, but something else.
Patreon's done a great job of saying, hey, look, we're gonna raise what we need to raise, to keep this going and grow it, but we want to have people that are brought in that have previous experience funding the arts, that understand that this is not a gigantic growth thing, that if Patreon doesn't, we're not going to have it turn into a virtual currency distributor in 5 years if we don't show explosive growth.
Right.
Not going to be pressured to go public. I think like that's something that has set their expectations. But let's understand when we say, oh, you don't need to grow, like what that means. That means that they don't have the same features that other social networks might. Now, granted, insert bitching about the fact that they don't have an edit feature and their abuse reporting is horrific, right? But they don't have the leeway to do Periscope, right? They don't have that kind of flexibility. Now it looks more like Wikipedia, so let's think about it like Wikipedia.
Or Craigslist.
Wikipedia's got their hand out every year looking for you to...
That's not a fair comparison, though, because you can have a for-profit company that doesn't go out and put their hand out, like Patreon.
Okay, so and that's probably unfair. But what is like, look at Craigslist and Wikipedia. They had the same design for the last how many years, right? And they probably ain't never going to change. Why? Because the aesthetics of how it looks and how it functions with you, the user, is lower on that list of priorities when there's
works.
money to go around.
Or they don't change it because it works, and they're not always changing things just to stimulate some kind of growth. That's the problem Facebook had in its early years, was like, we have to change, and people kept bitching and saying, stop changing things.
No, but I mean, listen, there is I think that it could be reasonably said that there is something beyond never changing and adding common sense things that make your user experience better.
And I read, by the way, that entire Twitter book. Remember the one by the guy who was at the Times?
Nick Bilton. Hatching Twitter.
Nick Bilton, right?
That guy.
And that book was very detailed about the culture at Twitter, and from that perspective, that is the thing that is probably causing investors worry more than numbers, right? Because that was a climate of like, we made a thing by accident and we don't know what to do with it. Like that was the message of that whole book, was like, look at this thing we invented as we were pivoting. And I think that is actually the most valid concern about Twitter as a company, because it's been good by accident rather than by design.
No, that's a really good point, because you can be Amazon and keep your profit margins razor thin, and the investors will grumble, but you're a successful company, so they're not going to revolt. You can be an Apple and keep that cash pile huge and not buy back any stock for decades, and the investors will grumble, but they won't revolt because Apple's bringing them value. Twitter, I think, it's not just about growth, it's also about that vision. And I think, I can't remember, Veronica, if it was you or Justin that said this, because I don't see gender, is that we actually got from Dorsey an idea of what Twitter is for the first time in a coherent way yesterday.
And one of the things that I really liked that Farhad Manjoo said in that article was that now I forgot what he said because I saw Veronica drop out and it distracted me. But it was a very well-written article about basically saying, like, no, it's gone. My really excellent point just disappeared. And I know what it was. My point is that when you look at Twitter, and this was in the Farhad article, it looks like code to the uninitiated. It doesn't look like something that you could easily pick up. If you just read a straight-down Twitter feed, it's full of all these weird @replies and half of a conversation, but where's the other half? And I can see a reply to something that Tom Merritt has said like 3 hours ago, but not the thing Tom said. And like, that is not the way that the human conversation goes naturally. And so it is a higher barrier to entry if you didn't get in on it from the beginning. And that was a point. That was a good point for Farhad's article, and I think a good point overall in terms of like, hey, let's fix the design of this and how we see it. So, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think we can all agree to disagree.
No. No, I refuse.
I think we're all basically agreeing just on different things.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think.
Isn't that America
well,
right
I
there?
think we can all agree that Patrick's wrong.
Oh God, you're gonna get more emails.
Kidding.
Listen, his argument has the right to be forgotten.
From someone in his country.
Yeah,
Yes.
based on IP address.
He does not have First Amendment protection, by the way.
No, he has Finnish protection right now, whatever that is.
Are we finished?
No, we're Swedish.
No,
That never gets old.
no, we're hungry. All right.
Yeah, I'm pasting the
Out,
bed in right now.
folks. Hearts.
Oh, Justin, thanks for
Hey,
being on
2
the
days in a
show
row.
today.
Thanks, man.
Happy to do it as per usual,
Awesome work.
guys.
I'm gonna go eat ice cream. That's my plan.
Are you?
I've got a plan, and it involves ice cream.
Are you screaming for ice cream?
No, I'm mildly interested. I'm not screaming.
All right. Sounds like I didn't screw up the publishing because I'm not having a fever anymore.
Good job.
That's good. Oh yeah, it looks like Google Plus went down. So there were Google problems today.
Yeah.
That may be part of Veronica's issue. She just may be suffering randomly more than the rest of us. That's weird. All righty then. Thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you later.